Good morning to you all, and thank you for inviting me here at this transportation summit. And especially my thanks goes to Mr. Kapoor for personally inviting me. And I'm really honored to be with the august guests on the dais and to address the esteemed, invitees who are sitting in front of me. Thank you once again. Uh, I represent the Department of Information Technology and Electronics, and whenever such summits they occur, to me, what actually dawns is the necessity of management of available public transactional data. So, when we talk about transportation, transportation actually creates live transactional data. How the buses ply, the vehicles ply, and how they are generating tons and tons of data. Actually, as these data are getting generated, we often forget that these data, they also contain personally identifiable information. With the very recent, passage of the bill becoming an act, that the Data Privacy Act that we have today in government of in India to 2023, we need to understand that whatever data that we as government we are collecting, the responsibility or the fiduciary responsibility lies with us. So all this data getting generated from this transport or from every activity that we do in public life, they are getting collected by government in some form or other. And as soon as this data is getting collected, the responsibility of safekeeping of data is absolute with the government. And when this data is actually shared with the processors and co-processors for doing analytics, then there should be a specific, non-disclosure agreement, signed between these two. That means these data cannot be actually shared with a party without the consent of the owner of the data. That means the common man. As you have come into this summit, you must have definitely given all your personally identifiable information like your name, your mobile number, your email ID, and if you are required to show some ID, that means that you are you, then you are also exposing your personally identifiable information. So the onus lies with Mr. Gupta or Dr. Gupta to actually safekeep your data. And if there is any chance that I take a snap of the list that you have kept outside, then you are actually getting exposed. So transport is a medium, not only it is actually facilitating people, it is creating a data lake or data pool. So how to safekeep the data, as Mr. Banerjee has just mentioned here. So the beauty of this data management or safekeeping is called anonymization. So we need to actually utilize anonymizer on top of this data lake so that we will only use the consented data. That means the data for which the owners have given consent. And if there is no consent, the remaining data will be anonymized. So there is a solution, sir. I have just replied to what you have done. Nonetheless, as we are here today, we understand that other than by just putting bus in thousands on the road, it is very much necessary to understand how these buses are going to ply and how they are made sustainable. You cannot just put money into the system and allow the system to run. It has to be, supported to sustain itself. So how these buses will sustain itself? Then the great benefit that has dawned upon us is AI/ML. So if we really understand the points of habitations across this city and who is flying to what place, then we can actually maintain a fleet and ensure sustenance in a better manner. And only that is possible with the help of emerging technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning. And to coming into that, from WEBEL, we are actually doing little bit of initial activities. Like Mr. Banerjee has mentioned about provision of electric charging stations. We have 33 properties across the state named IT parks. You must have definitely seen IT parks in Sector 5, Rajarhat, Shiriguri, Shiriguri, Durgapur, Asansol, at many places. And all these IT parks, and most of them are crowded with young entrepreneurs and employees who are right now destined to use mostly the electric vehicles. So we are putting up charging stations at all these IT parks so that, these chargers or charging stations can provide support to these young people or young entrepreneurs, young employees who are our best customers or our prospective customers. Not only that, there is a possibility of generating data, and in order to use that data and put up service stations. Very recently, at the SDF building in Sector 5, we conducted a survey during the month of July. We found out that out of the 380 vehicles who stay inside the parking lot of SDF now every day, out of that, around 80 to 90 vehicles are right now EVs. And out of 80 to 90 vehicles, around 50 vehicles are two-wheelers and remaining are four-wheelers. So charging stations are actually, they are different, or you need to sustain that also. That should be a sustainable model. So for two-wheeler charging stations should be different than the four-wheeler charging stations if you want to sustain. So very recently, last week, we had a detailed demonstration by many service providers at WEBEL, and my CIO is here, Mr. Govt. You can talk to him when you have time. So we are actually creating an ecosystem and putting up charging stations based on the data, because this is a sustainable. If we want to actually achieve a sustainable model, it should be a data-driven decision-making system. Lastly, I would once again, put it forward that whatever we do, considering the decadence that is happening in the earth or on the earth, it is high time we started actually using shared vehicles. It is high time that I started giving lifts to my neighbors. It is high time that we actually go for public vehicle holiday. Thank you so much. God bless you.